Hello and welcome to the Quincy Access Television studios. I'm Mark Crosby. Thank you for joining us for Good Deeds, a quarterly update about the Registry of Deeds. Joining me to talk about the third quarter of 2019 is the Register of Deeds here in Norfolk County. That would be Bill O'Donnell. Bill, welcome.
Mark, thank you very much. Thanks for having me, and thanks to Quincy Access Television for doing this. I think it's a good service for people to learn, what's out there. The registry deals with the biggest asset most people have, which are their homes. So we'll talk a little statistics. That could get boring for some, but hopefully there's other services we provide they'll find of an interest. And again, thanks to Quincy Access Television.
Well, thank you. And statistics are of interest to many folks. They like to hear how the numbers break down.
Well, again, it was the document volume was up, and it was up in Norfolk County. It was up 2%. It was slightly up in Quincy. Again, for a 10-month period, we've kind of weaved in 10 months, which was January 1st to October 31st, and also the third quarter, which is July 1st to September 30th. And as far as total documents recorded, there were 38,859. In 2018, that 10-month period, countywide, 42,015. So that's up. Again, that was for the quarter.
Right.
For the 10-month period, and that's what happens when you weave in statistics, the total documents recorded were 119,353 countywide, and in 2019, 121,272, so up 2%. So what we saw is in Quincy, there were 11,508 documents recorded, which was slightly up, again, for the 10-month period. So up 2% countywide for 10 months, up slightly, and then also for the quarter, significantly up. The county was 8%, and Quincy was 5%. So document volume might be up, but then we look at what goes into that. And the thing is, for total deeds, and that's kind of important, those are the sales. It was down countywide. It was down 1%. 15,033, down from 15,228. And in Quincy, it went from 1,848 for the 10-month period to 1,753. So again down. And for the quarter, again, total deeds, it was down countywide, down 1% and down 7% for the county, for the quarter in Quincy. Quincy had 581 recorded this quarter versus 626. So the document volume's down, and you kind of see that in there's kind of a mixed bag in the sales price. You could see countywide, the average sale price was down, as well as in Quincy. So less sales, and maybe again, it's the time period there are less sales. So why did the document volume kind of go up? And you got to look at mortgages, and there's been a lot of borrowings. The mortgages went up in Norfolk County for the 10-month period. It was 15%, and in Quincy 10%. And in the third quarter for Quincy, there was an increase in 18%. So there was a lot of borrowings, and the reason for that is probably the interest rates went down.
Right.
And WBZ Radio indicated, and I think more and more people are staying in their homes and renovating their homes as far as selling, because prices are high. Even though some of those percentages went down, the Warren Group said in Norfolk County the average medium home price from January 1st to September 30th was $529,900. That's up 3.9% over 2018. So again, prices to get in the market, it's still tough on people. It's expensive, and I think people are staying in their house longer. I started saying WBZ Radio indicated that the average age to trade up in 2019 is 55, whereas in 1981 it was 36. The average age was 36. So people are staying in their houses longer, and again, maybe that's why you see more of the borrowings, to renovate the house as opposed to selling the house.
I do want to, we just had some graphics that really were concentrating on the third quarter, both the Quincy real estate activity, and if we could also bring up the Norfolk County, because it does add to what you were just discussing.
Yes, that third quarter, again, countywide, Norfolk County is still desirable. You got to remember, there's 28 communities, so you can see the average sale price. And again, it's kind of skewed. I always say that because they look at commercial and residential. That was up 13%. And when you look at some of the prices, you just shake your head. How do you get into the market? And again, Quincy, all the statistics that when we were coming has been very vibrant. So even though the prices may be down, you got to remember we're getting towards the the end of the year, and sometimes market forces are at effect. And I think a lot of times, I think that people I talk to, we see people at the registry, they're hesitant to sell a house because they might be selling a house and making good money on it, but now they're hesitant about taking on more debt and having to spend a lot of money to upgrade their house.
So let's talk about foreclosure activity, because that is a factor as well.
Well, certainly, and I always start with foreclosure deeds. Again, for the year, for that 10-month period, we've gone down in the county. There's 118 foreclosure deeds in 2019 over that 10-month period to 193 in 2018. So that's down 39%. And what we like to see is that's what's trending in Quincy. In Quincy, there was only 11 foreclosure deeds for that 10-month period, January 1st, October 31st, 11 in 2019, 20 in 2018, and we see the same trend for the quarter. Countywide, there were 63 foreclosure deeds in 2018, 38 in 2019, which means it's down 40%. And again, in Quincy, we see it down. It's down countywide, and it's down in Quincy. But the big thing we also look at is notices to foreclose. And again, 365 in 2019 countywide, down from 539 in 2018, which is down 32%. And in Quincy, there were 39 notices in 2019 versus 50 in 2018. And the notices are the beginning of the process. So if there are notices, that's showing there's some struggles going on, and that lending authorities, banks, mortgage companies have gone to court to start the foreclosure process. And by law, they have to file a notice to foreclose at the registry. So again, the good news is foreclosure deeds are down. They're down quarterly in the county. They're down quarterly for Quincy, and they're down over a 10-month period, which is good news. But if you're struggling, you're very fortunate in Quincy. You have Neighbor Works Housing Solutions, as well as Quincy Community Action Program. So you have two social service agencies, two nonprofit agencies, and their mission is, one of their missions is to help people that are struggling with foreclosure, give people some financial education. And I would also say, if you are struggling with foreclosure, do not wait till there's a sale and a foreclosure deed is imminent. You wanna get this help early on in the process. And if you go to our website, www.norfolkdeeds.org, we have links to those two nonprofit groups, Neighbor Works Housing Solutions, as well as Quincy Community Action Program, and the Attorney General's office. We have links. They too provide some service. So that is one of the good news, is that foreclosures are trending down. But one is probably one too many, especially if you're the person that's dealing with it.
Let's talk now about electronic recording.
Well, electronic recording, when I first started as Registry of Deeds, that wasn't even thought of. It was kind of one of the technological advancements that society has kind of brought in, and we as a government agency or any operation have to look at how you do things. And we couldn't do it alone. The legislature had to authorize it. The federal government also authorized, electronic recording, and we've been doing it for quite some time on the registry side at the registry. That's recorded land, and when you look at the volume, it's almost 50% now comes through electronic recording. What is it? if you're at a closing attorney's office here in Quincy or Bellingham or wherever around the county, and sometimes they're doing Norfolk County closings in Boston or in Worcester, and what they can now do is transmit the package electronically, and the recordings take place via the internet. Now, the banks, the closing attorneys, the real estate brokers, a lot of people see a benefit of it because the attorneys like doing the work in their office. If there are things that they have to deal with, they can do it at the office and transmit it. And this could not be done but for the fact that we have everything on the internet. So when attorneys are doing rundowns, they can just go on their computer and check to make sure there's no liens by the new buyers and get the property recorded. We also have to thank the local legislators because they authorized electronic recording in the land court, and that's a little more complicated because the land court rules are set by the land court in Boston, but Norfolk County was the first county to do electronic recording in the land court. We were part of a pilot program, and it's been going on since 2017. A few other registries have now joined in. And again, I think the efficiencies that we saw with electronic recording on the recorded land side are being done on the land court side, and that's growing. We're up to 35% of our volume on the land court side is being recorded electronically. But we still like people coming into 649 High Street. We still have closing space available, and when I left today, there were people down there because some people just like to do it at the registry and walk the documents up, get it recorded, and distribute the checks. But you can either come to the registry or do it via electronic.
You have a
recording.
choice.
You have a choice, and that's the beauty of the technology that we see in society. And
Sure.
I think we try to make it work at the registry.
Talk about mortgage discharges and the importance of making sure that your mortgage, if in fact has been discharged, that
Yeah, well, we all have to borrow money, whether we're buying the house or have children in college. So when you borrow money, there's a mortgage that gets recorded. You just want to make sure when it gets paid off that there's a mortgage discharge. It's a 1 or 2 page document, and I always say it tells the world, it gets recorded, tells the world that that's been paid off. A lot of times people come in and say, hey, I'm told I need to get a discharge, and we do have on our website a document, a place to go. Where has my bank gone? It's one thing to go to the local community bank, but some of the banks have merged, some have gone out of business back in the 1990s. So sometimes it's chasing paper, and you want to make sure you get that discharge. And if you go to our website, we have also have links to the FDIC, which helps people track where has their bank gone. But you just got to have that 1 or 2 page document get recorded. And again, a lot of the lending institutions should have done it, but you as the consumer should check. You can use our website to check, or we have office hours around the county. You can come in, and that's what a lot of people do, come in and they say, hey, can you check our mortgages? Or call our customer service center at 781-461-6101. We have a customer service center that tries to help answer people's questions like that.
I will give out a phone number to the Mass Division of Banks that will also assist, and that is 617-956-1501.
Right, to help track down your bank,
right,
where the lending institution goes.
You and I spoke about this in previous episodes, and I have one. I think pretty much everyone now has a Homestead Act because in Norfolk County, because it became part of legislation, correct?
Well, the homestead is in the state law. It's been around for a while. I think there's more education. I know Quincy Access has done a great job of broadcasting it, and I think with the internet and shows like this, people are more aware of what their rights are. So it's been around. My dad never had one, but way back when he bought the property in 1960, he could have put a homestead on. But I think there was less education for the consumers. What the homestead is.
But it became automatic recently.
Yes,
well, too long ago.
Right. There's 2 ways to get a homestead. Well, the old way was you had to record a homestead. Act, a piece of paper which you declare in a state of homestead. You can only do it on your principal residence. And I would still counsel people to do that, because the protection when I first started was up to $300,000. It was increased to $500,000. I always say thank you, local legislators, because they did change the law. For the first time in Massachusetts history, there's an automatic homestead. It's only $125,000, and it gets a portion depending on how many people own the property. So to my way of thinking, I would rather declare the estate a homestead. The filing fee is relatively modest, $36. And hopefully I'll never need it. You might say, why do you need a homestead? I always give the example, you could be driving in your car and think you have a lot of insurance, $100,000, and you hit somebody and they have a $400,000 case against you. At some point, your insurance company may turn over the $100,000, but the injured party is going to be chasing you and will continue to chase you. It's just the homestead, if you have it recorded, puts a picket fence around your home, and so they can't force the sale of your house.
So we should mention that the established, I suppose, amount that the state established is lower than the one that you could apply
well,
for, or
they,
any one of us
they've
could
established
apply for.
it within the various state laws. It's the automatic one is because you remember there are interest groups up there that don't want to have people have homesteads. So there's always a balancing act at the legislature. So they've established that the automatic homestead is $125, but if you declare the estate a homestead, which only requires you to put your book and page of your deed, or if you have the property on the land court side, your certificate of title, and have it notarized.
Up to $500,000.
Yes, that's the protection, $500,000, and the legislature defines elderly as 62 and above, so there's rights for people who are 62 and above if they declare an estate a homestead in writing.
Homes in trust. Talk about that in relation to the homestead.
And again, thank you, local legislators. They've made clear, and they wrote it in the statute, that depending on the circumstances, depending on the representations the trustee of a trust makes, who the beneficiaries are, that they too have a right to declare a written homestead. So again, I always tell people, if you put the property in trust, that means you're doing some estate planning. You may want to revisit that with the professionals that have given you some guidance.
We should mention that nursing home expenses are not protected.
No, there's a lot of things when you have the homestead. People think, oh, I can go to Foxwoods and I'm all set. No, there are things. For instance, if you don't pay the city of Quincy the taxes, they can take your property by tax title. And we saw with the foreclosures, you could have a homestead recorded, but again, the way it's written in the legislature, you could still be foreclosed on. But so there are some exclusions, such as the nursing home.
And you may have mentioned this, and I may have missed it, but there is an elderly homestead. How does that
That's
differ?
the 62 and above, and both people could now lay claim to the $500,000. Okay. So there's a feeling amongst the practitioners that if you both get over 62, you may stack the coverage a little bit.
Mobile homes are covered.
Yes, there was a question on that, and they made it clear that if you have a mobile home, record a homestead at the registry of deeds. And again, in a part of the Norfolk County, there is an area that has mobile homes. So there was always a question where to do it, and the legislature was, again, thinking of the consumer, made it clear, hey, if you have a mobile home, you have a right to declare a homestead at the registry.
The Consumer Notification Service, currently there are over 1,000 Norfolk County homeowners that have signed up for this program.
Yes, and I always say it's something, there's a lot of people that try to take advantage of people. The Consumer Notification Service does not prevent a fraud, but we see a lot of frauds out there. I haven't seen it in Norfolk County as far as property, but the FBI says the fastest growing white collar crime is property and mortgage fraud. So what the Consumer Notification Service is, you can go to our website and sign up for it. I've signed up myself. I get an email anytime a William O'Donnell document gets recorded, and I just look it up. Or if you're not good on the computer, you can call our customer service center and determine if it involves you. Now, there might be a time where I get that email and I say, that's a deed to my house, or that's a mortgage, I didn't sign that. I didn't prevent the fraud, but now I can get on it right away. Because when you think about it, how many of us look up our properties, for any irregularities like that. So we haven't prevented the fraud, but our website has links to the law enforcement authorities, and you can, get on it right away to to curtail the negative effects of a possible fraud like that on your property. And it's consistent with what we've tried, what we said earlier. The biggest asset we have is our homes, and I think the Consumer Notification Service is a way to, to be vigilant.
And we should mention that this is a free service.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's no charge for that.
And quite easy to sign up.
You could sign up on our website, or if you have any questions, you can call our IT department and they'll walk you through. But, yeah.
One of the ongoing projects is the Notable Land Records.
Well, I want to thank Quincy Access, I know, and thank you, Mark, for filming. We had a great dedication in October, and again, the building needed to get fixed. It's been a long-term project of working the masonry on the outside, the roofs, the boilers, the electrical, the inside. There was a lot of damage through the storms in 2015. So it's an old building. This is what it looks like. In 1903, it opened up and was built in 1903. The deed was, I believe, a little under $18,000 that the county paid for the land. And what we did is, in renovating it, we had a rededication of the registry, and we did another Notable County Registry of Deeds, a Notable Records book, because there's a lot of history in Norfolk County. And for Quincy on this one, we had Dorothy Quincy. So again, a lot of good information, and there was a number of people countywide that we picked, and of course, tie it in. We have 4 presidents born here. So I feel like I was back in college again, where you need a deadline, and we had the ceremony, and I used that date as a way to do a volume. So certainly contact the registry. I know we have it on our website, but if you need a book, we can give it to you. And again, thank you for filming it, because there was a lot of good singing there. We had a choir, madrigal choir there, and it was a nice event. And again, it touches on, there's a lot of history in the records at the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds. So thank you for doing that.
And talk about the third phase.
Well, we're starting. We just solicited or sent out letters to the school departments, to the veterans agents, veterans groups. It's been a lot of fun. I love history. The history has come alive. We've done a transcription project where all those old deeds, which you can still look, that are handwritten from 1793 to 1900, they're handwritten. Now they're typed out. So you really can delve into what the deed says, what the records say, and who the people are behind that. And our next project, we're trying to do the same thing we did with this. For instance, my hometown of Norwood, there was a governor from Norwood, Frank Allen. Different people. We had from Needham, Allie Raisman, Olympic medalist,
right.
Grew up in Needham. So we're going to try to do the same thing, but with veterans. So try to tie in the story. I know there's a lot of history here. And again, it will start with the 4 United States presidents, because they're the 4 commanders-in-chiefs. I mean, how many counties can say they had 4 commanders-in-chiefs? So 4 presidents. So we're going to try to, again, tie in someone's story with the records, like we have in the Notable Land Records Volume 1, Notable Land Records Volume 2, and do that. So
Interesting projects going on at the Registry of Deeds.
Yes.
Quite nice. Computer seminars. This is something that happens a couple times a year.
Yes, we had one in the fall, and check our website for one in the spring. A lot of people like to come into the registry. We started way back when, just because we were changing the system, but people come in because they want to learn about how to access the information. We do have professionals that come in, but the seminar is geared to everybody. So you can come to the registry at 649 High Street and learn how to do the research. And some people are doing it more and more, not just for their home, but for the genealogical and historical research. We see a lot of people doing that.
We are recording this program in November, so it's the perfect time to talk about the food drive that you do. You are a collection spot for local food pantries, as well as Toys for Tots.
Yes, all year we do a food drive, but we do our annual food drive. It starts here in November and runs right through past Christmas through December 27th. So we do a food drive, and the response has always been great. But we have, and I always say, we're doing the food drive now. We should be thanking our blessings. We got Thanksgiving and the holiday season, Christmas and Hanukkah, and a lot to be thankful for. The food pantries need food all year, so if you go to our website, we have a list of all the food pantries countywide and their addresses. So we are a drop-off center for people, and then that's great. But I always tell people go directly to the food pantry all year, because they need it all year. So that's one of the issues that we're trying to do. And there is food, they call food insecurity here in Norfolk County, and you're helping people out. And it's also the holiday season. Again, the United States Marines, we thank people for their service to this country, but they also have a Toys for Tots program. This is, I believe, our 14th year that we are a drop-off point where we do the collections for the United States Marines, and I think that's a worthwhile cause. And more importantly, we should be thinking of others. I know in my life I have 3 children. I'm blessed. Things are good, but we should be thankful and try to help people out that maybe need a break here and there. And between the food drive and the Toys for Tots United States Marine Corps drive, I think those are 2 worthy things. And again, thanks to Quincy Access, you guys were great about putting together a public service announcement that not just runs here in Quincy, but goes countywide and really helps the cause, both causes. So thank you.
As we close, let's talk about current legislation on Beacon Hill.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, for me, I always thank, you're always looking for something, but I always thank the legislators for what they've done. They've protected the consumers with the Homestead. They allowed us to do electronic recording. The first piece of legislation by changing the law. Then they allowed us to do electronic recording in the land court because they removed the requirement that everything had to be on original paper.
Right.
So, you're always thankful. There are still a few things up there. Senator John Keenan is one of the sponsors of an assignment bill where there's a requirement or would be mandated, much as it is on the land court side, when a bank assigns your mortgage, they're supposed to record an assignment. Senator Keenan's bill would make that mandatory, that within 30 days that has to be done. And the reason I think it's important is more and more people can use the computer now and check, and so it's transparency that people can go online, and if the assignments were recorded, they could know, who legally has their mortgage, as opposed to, later on when there's foreclosures and there's questions about who's servicing the mortgage, who has the mortgage. So that's one piece of legislation. And another piece of legislation was an AED legislation. What an AED is a defibrillator. We've been, at the registry, we've done it. And we have a defibrillator on all 3 floors, even though the state is on the 3rd floor. We do that out of our budget. And so there was a thought, some people have grabbed onto that they think, that is a worthy thing. And we've been doing that since 2010. And we've been trained. We get trained. Our staff gets trained not on just first aid, but also how to use the AED. And hopefully we'll never need to use it. But ironically, my brother last December had a situation where he was being CPR'd, and then the fire department AED'd him. So you see, the Red Cross says that if some people can get that the defibrillation, there's a better chance of survival, and in my brother's case, it worked out well for him. So, and he's younger than me, so it's even scarier.
But so this legislation regarding?
It's just to try to expand it.
To expand
yeah,
it.
there
Okay.
were legislators, Representative Garlick in Needham had seen it. She's a nurse, and she thought it would be a good pilot program. But we just do it. We're doing it now at the registry and continue to do it. And so that's another piece of legislation that's up there. But and again, Senator Keenan's assignment legislation.
Well, certainly your brother was lucky.
He was.
I want to thank you, Bill, for stopping by and talking about the 3rd quarter and actually reflecting back a bit as we come to a close in 2019.
Yes, and again, thanks to you, Mark, and thanks to Quincy Access for doing this programming. It's great to be here. Always great to be in Quincy.
Well, we will certainly see you in the new year. Is that a definite?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
yeah,
thanks,
definitely.
Bill.
Thanks. Be well.
I want to thank you at home for watching. You have been watching a program of Quincy Access Television. Please continue to watch QATV for more locally produced programming.